Hi everyone, and welcome to Noona's Noonchi, where I do a deep dive into some of your favorite K-dramas from a mental health perspective. More on filial piety, that deep sense of duty, obligation, servitude in treating one's parents well, one's family well, one's ancestors, elders, making them proud, right? All about serving the good name of the family, doing everything you can to make them proud of you. Filial piety, a stressor in our culture and very well embedded in the K-dramas that we see today, right? Crash Landing on You, episode 9, has an interesting conversation between Yoon Se-ri, Son Ye-jin's character, and her stepmother. I'll admit, when I was rewatching this to talk about it, I wasn't digging the stepmother. No, I mean, there were times when I'm just like, ooh, it triggered me to hear those harsh words that she said to Yoon Se-ri that she regrets later. But this is where Yoon Se-ri shares with her stepmother her dream of why she's doing this. This is a conversation where I want to show you two different sides of filial piety. The servitude side from the child, Yoon Se-ri. Regardless of age, you're still a child of your parents, right? So her perspective, and then the filial piety perspective from the mother. What does that look like? Let's break down Yoon Se-ri's perspective. So to give you some context of this episode, the mother is sounding very bitter, resentful, accusatory, saying to Yoon Se-ri, okay, so I heard that you're going to make your company public, blah, blah, blah. Okay, who do you think you are? There you go again, showing off in front of your dad to get his approval, to take over everything, to make your brothers look bad. Very accusatory. That's why I got upset listening to him. I'm like, oh, that's an awful thing to say to your kid. But maybe you've gotten that, and you know, that happens, right? Family members do say this. Parents do say this to their kids, but it's coming from somewhere. Put a hold on that. Then we have Yoon Se-ri's like, with her incredulous look going, this isn't about greed. Well, that's the direct translation, but her mother's also saying ambition. You're being too ambitious. Who do you think you are? But she's like, no, this is my dream. And she says it with the look like, really? How could you say that? It's sad, right? Perhaps you felt like Yoon Se-ri. You're like shocked by some comments you get. I want you to take a look at this scene. It may bring up some triggers like it did for me, but look at the way Yoon Se-ri stays calm, but she's also hurt, distressed. That doesn't mean you don't feel that, right? Let's be clear. Even as you're strongly saying the words you believe to your parents, to plead with them, to help them understand your case of why you're pursuing your wish in a career, job, no job, artistry, whatever that looks like, say it in a way that you are talking for yourself from your perspective, calmly, even though there's distress happening. You don't want to be distressed and sharing. It's just going to carry on that distress and distress out your parents and make it worse because you're one emotional unit in a family, right? You guys are all feeding off each other. Put a pause on Yoon Se-ri saying that. The mom saying things like, you're making my life terrible. You're basically making my life hell. How could you do that? Because you're trying to be successful, this founder of this cosmetic skincare company, whatever. This is hard for me. Where's the mother coming from? She has her own story there, right? Just like you do, just like Yoon Se-ri does. What is that story? Let's not ignore the fact there's intergenerational stressors, conflict and trauma happening. So Yoon Se-ri's stepmother has something going on there. Perhaps, when I'm assessed, not feeling close to her own husband. Yoon Se-ri is not her birth daughter. What happened there? So always having to feel like that she has to outshine Yoon Se-ri, defend her sons, right? There's that competition. Yes, that does exist within the family. It's a very big part of our culture. Let's admit that. That's what filial piety does. It's unhealthy at times to foster that competitiveness within the family among siblings, to prove to each other, to outdo each other. Oh, that's exhausting. I really want to break those unhealthy patterns, unlearn that. If you're a parent watching this, how can you rephrase what Yoon Se-ri's mom says to Yoon Se-ri? How can you find a way to express the things you're struggling with in your own life, intergenerational patterns that you've had to face, and not project them onto your kid? You have your own wishes, but how can you listen to your child so there's not regret? Now, later on, we see that Yoon Se-ri's stepmom regrets it and is just tortured. And there's some reconciliation here. That's great. And we need to see that. I really believe change can happen. But if you want to be like Yoon Se-ri, the buck stops here. Really be able to share what you need to share to better communicate, to not repeat those toxic communication patterns that you see in the family because you're not able to express because of filial piety. I need you to work through the filial piety. The best metaphor I can give is think of swimming a lap. What is it, 25 yards? And you feel good when you swim several laps, right? But you could easily get up and just go to the other side of the pool, right? No, but the whole point is you want to exercise, feel good, build your arms, build that stamina swimming, right? And then you get to the other side and you have this cardio, your heart rate's up, and you feel like you accomplished something. That's harder. By the way, Yunset even says that. Mom, this was hard work. Wow, I really worked hard for this. This was not easy, but I did it because it's what I want to do. Well said, I thought. And also on the flip side, the mom showing that bitterness scoffs at it, really. That's why you get a little mad. You're like, really? But again, the empathy that I have, because I see this in parents, their own intergenerational stress, the traumatic experiences they've had that they are not able to express to you because of cultural nuances and norms, right? The cultural conflict they had. They're not able to share that, express it, repress it. That's what they've been doing all their life. So they don't even know how to begin. So she's saying something, and perhaps her story is that she wasn't feeling good enough. I'm just assessing, right? I'm asking you to look at filial piety in a multidimensional way. Yes, it's easy and simple to look from your point of view, but then you'll stay mad, distressed. It's not good for your mental health. You end up shutting down, not talking to your parents, and I've seen families drift apart. That's not what we want because it's not good for you. So how can you understand what your parent, your mom or dad is coming from, grandparents? What are they saying? What's going on there? What did they go through that they would actually accuse me of being greedy, ambitious on my own? Perhaps they didn't have that experience. They're projecting that onto you. They have their own desires. Filial piety is also about the parents' desires that they impose on the kids because they didn't have something. It's the empathy I'm trying to build in a family. If you have to have a tough conversation with your parents, or parents, if you have to have this conversation with your kids that you're disagreeing because of what's going on with you, look at both sides and understand it first. Ask yourself, wait a second, why am I so angry at my child? Why does my parent get so angry about my dream? What's going on there? It's hard to explain, and these are the questions I'm asking you to ask yourself. Peace in the family. Filial piety is also about harmony. How can you bring harmony in your family today, even if it's one small change that you can make? Look at this example on episode 9 of Crash Landing on You. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to Noona's Noonchi. You can hit the bell button so you can get notified of new deep dives each week.